Hello, welcome to the Tipp City School Board Education meeting for December 18th, 2023. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order and we'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Mr. Stevens, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Drum?
Here.
Mr. Maines?
Here.
Mr. Dunaway?
Here.
Mrs. Heatherly?
Here.
Mrs. Accord?
Here.
All present accounted for. We have a quorum and can't continue this evening.
All right, sounds good. At this time, I'll take a motion for approval of the meeting agenda.
Motion.
Moved by Mrs. Dunaway. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Accord. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll now proceed to vote.
Dunaway?
Yes.
Accord?
Yes.
Maines?
Yes.
Drum?
Yes.
Heatherly?
Yes.
All right. Motion passes. Sorry. I'm slow today. Okay. All right. We'll start with our student recognition. Mr. Moran.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to come out on the Monday before Christmas. We're going to recognize a lot of students from our 540. We're going to have the board members stand up in front. They're going to shake hands, and then the kids will go over to in front of the signage there and get a picture taken with their line phone or something like that. Okay. And if you need help, we'll help you out. So, academic topic or K1 building, we have equality characters. Last month was kindness, and we have 4 kids recognized for that. So we have Olivia Foster, Amelia Kesters. Come on up. Yeah.
Oh, congratulations. Congratulations. Great job. Great job, Amelia.
Avery Green,
You're gonna go over there.
Owen Schmidt,
We're gonna go right over there and take a picture around and okay.
and then we also had some coloring contest winners with that topic. And in third place was Evelyn Borger. Glenn Armstrong was second. And Ronan Williams was first. Your parents, if you want to go over there, get a picture, you're welcome to. Parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, whoever. It's a day for the day.
Take as many as you want. No rush. Oh.
So cute.
Wait 1 second, honey, then we'll get your colored canvas.
You get to take a picture all by yourself. Like you get to be the princess, the rock star. Which one do you like better? Rock star or the princess? Princess, that's it. You're my kind of girl.
Coloring contest. It's when yourself, like.
All right.
Good job.
Every awesome kids. Congratulations. At Broadway, we're recognizing the kid that had the most points in the accelerator reader program. So we had Anna Carroll. Guinness in 8th grade as well.
Right over there and take perfect, okay? Okay, that's a
John McLean. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, so you're gonna head right over there.
Donut, it's Levi Strauss.
I did the same thing. We have to do something back.
And what up?
What's coming? My son will know. Okay, look at me first, right? Well, don't skip it. All the ones in there. Yep.
Congratulations. You got on the seat now, kids.
Yeah, you're all done. You did great. Nice one, we could work. I like knowledge. You're like, wait, I got more round two. Maybe I got more coming up. You're seeing on the way here. No, they're good. They're already ahead.
They probably are. At LT Fall, we had the Tipp City Area Arts Council Holiday Writing Contest winners. We had Lucas McGinnis. Like you get the family.
See, then you can go down the line that way and then come back for a picture. Cool.
Kayla Summers.
I like it. Nice job.
Really good odds. Okay. And Sophia.
Congratulations. Here you go.
Wait.
Yeah.
Sophia, wait.
What do you have? You have the first one, right?
Yep. Thank you. Goodbye, Sophie. Very cute. You can go right over there. That's like so good.
All right, and now Tippecanoe Middle School, we had a bunch of rock stars of the week. So in sixth grade, we had Burt Brown.
He's at the choir concert.
Olivia Griffith.
I
And,
think he's there too.
yeah, and Madeline Manuel.
Yeah.
And,
Madam.
seventh grade, we had Eli Moyer. Oliver Ranley.
Oh, here.
Andrew Watkins.
Congratulations.
Eighth grade, we had Lily Fox.
There you go, sweetheart.
Hudson Ganger. And Audrey Smith.
Were you all three? Okay, so it was in different piles, so I just make sure that's right. Do you want to see it? No, offense. Yeah. Go together and put it in.
Graduation. At the high school, we have three different awards. Our first one is our Eagle Scout designation, and that's Ben Coder.
Good job, and congratulations, that's amazing. I'm over there, take a picture for us, thank you.
We have Difference Maker Award that goes to Mark Hernandez.
Thank you.
Scotty Rudman.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Charles Strauss.
Thank you.
And then above and beyond, where we actually have a above and beyond award winners, we have Lillian Anderson from LP Mall. Bridget Tron from Tipp Middle School. Catherine Arnett from the high school. Thomas Billington from the high school. Abby Crun from the high school. Madeline Randy from the high school. Last but not least, Brianna Cedars.
Yeah. You're coming up right.
That's all reports. So that's the picture. Welcome to thank for trying to write.
We got yours. Thanks.
Yeah.
High school.
I know.
High school, you don't leave them. Okay, ready? Well, maybe one of this.
He's a good kid.
Okay, and then we're gonna switch you guys out. So.
That's a better setup like that.
Good suggestion,
Yeah.
Mr. Moran. Way to go. No,
Lynn said, let's not have one on the stage. I said.
Well, and the board, they want their kids' pictures. They don't want to see me in there.
there you go, madam.
That's nice.
Thanks. It was my Friday suggestion.
Oh, okay.
I said it was not
Put the
effective.
whole thing to
The way we did
consent agenda.
By nobody's fault. It was the first time doing this.
Said the whole thing to consent agenda.
Yeah, I didn't like the whole stairs thing. Just
You know, that this is.
It's distracting, actually.
It was. That's what I told Mr. Moran. He agreed.
All the way down.
It was just a lot of
to
everything.
here. It's consent.
There's a lot going on.
Unbelievable the way they do it.
Well, I'll work on that for you.
It's good to meeting
Like,
you.
no, they couldn't
might.
see me.
You don't think about it.
Oh, so beautiful.
Okay.
You have to go out
What
to
is it?
afterwards.
Oh, that I can definitely do, Rick.
No
So
comment.
it's the second Tuesday of the month.
Well, I have actually have plenty of comments. So I have more than enough.
Mhm.
Are you gonna go to the bond? I don't care. We gotta figure out the thing you're gonna need.
Yeah.
We all do. Yeah, because there's sunshine, you also can't be there.
Whatever.
Okay.
It's probably this there.
Okay.
We can put the chairs back real quick. It got a lot cooler too. It's like 10 degrees cooler and all of a sudden, yeah, you can tell a temperature difference right away.
Dave, you really ought to have that foot up on a chair.
Oh, it's been enough days. It's been enough days. He's over.
Well, I don't know who told you that, but well, I was in vascular 10 years. It does matter.
Okay, can we keep going?
Well,
Well, Denise, good.
It's good.
Let's
Okay.
rethink this. Does he like you? How's your relationship right now?
Exactly.
I'm joking.
All right.
It's a total joke, just so you know.
What? Okay, let's move on. So next is gonna be nutritional standards. What is that presentation?
Yeah, Mrs. Hagan is here with just a brief update on our annual nutrition standards.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Once a year, we're required by law to go on ahead and update you that we are following our board policies as well as USDA guidelines. So we follow those throughout the whole school day. It's 30 minutes prior to the first bell, 30 minutes after the last bell. And so our cafeteria staff is doing a great job. They're really working hard and providing a lot of smiles for our kids. So I think I attached the layout on the board agenda. So if you have any questions.
Bless you.
Oh, no, you did a great job. Yes, I mean, I didn't have any questions. It was very thorough as always. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, anyone else? No? All right, thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Mrs. Hagan, sorry. All right, next we have Miami Valley CTC meeting minutes.
All right.
Mr. Maine?
I think, I'm not sure the meeting agenda was attached, but basically in a nutshell, we pretty much standard business, just like what we do here with ours. Before the meeting, I just wanted to note that we were treated to a fantastic holiday dinner that was prepared by the Northmont Schools cafeteria staff, and it was yummy. So then right after that, we proceeded to the meeting. And one of the first things that we did, which is also on our agenda, I know, we adopted our 2024-2025 school calendar. And then we had a few retirees and some new staff that we added to it. And we went through our out-of-state travel agenda for this coming period. And there are 32 members that are going to be traveling to the FFA National Convention in Indianapolis, Indiana. So that's a pretty big deal. That'll be coming up pretty soon. So other than that, the one thing that we had to do, which I believe is on our agenda again this time for us, is we authorized the Southwestern Ohio Educational Purchasing Council, acting jointly as a member of the Ohio School Consortium, to issue a request for proposal for the purchase of competitive retail natural gas service from the lowest and best bidder, submitted to the consortium, and authorizing the Board of Education to purchase a competitive retail natural gas service from such bidder. So that's something that comes up at this time of the year, I think, for all school systems. So we had to do that. And then the last thing that was on the agenda is we did establish a time, date and a time for our organizational board meeting. And so that is going to be on January 9th, 2024 at 7 o'clock in the boardroom. So there are a few other things I wanted to bring up. The sophomore career days that we had just this past month was a tremendous success. Almost all of our partner schools sent students, and we had approximately 3,400 this year that visited the career technical programs on the campus. So it was pretty amazing. I need to make everybody aware that the online application window is now open for our traditional junior and senior programs, as well as our new Career Connections program. So, and looking at our preliminary numbers, in the first 24 hours that it was open, we received a total of 774 applications. And that's an increase of about 170 over the prior year at the same period. The other thing I wanted to mention was the 2024-25 school calendar was presented, as I mentioned in the minutes, and we did do our final approval on that. There are a couple upcoming dates to be aware of, coming very quickly, as a matter of fact. December 20th is the last day on campus for students before our holiday break. And then the classes resume on January 4th. So those are a couple key dates. And then I wanted to bring up, we had four veterinary science students who participated in the Ohio FFA annual behavioral career development event, which was held at the Ohio State Campground. And all four placed in the top 10. And I'm very proud to announce that our Tip City student, Maya Beam, took first place.
Oh, wow. Good for her.
Also, at the MVCTC Graphic Commercial Art, juniors recently displayed their celebrity portraits. And number one was our Tip City student, Mary McCormick. So Tip City is very well represented with the CTC and they do very well. So I'm very proud of all of them.
That's
So that's
great.
my report.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Main. Okay, the TIP Education Endowment meeting was last Wednesday, the 13th. Right? That's the right date? Yeah, thanks, Lisa. Okay, there was new officers elected. Lisa Santucci is the president, Russ Gilmore is the vice president, and Lauren Gibbs, thank you, Lauren Gibbs will be the treasurer this year. T, in conjunction with the Troy Foundation, used the new grant submission system this past grant cycle in order to receive grants from teachers here in Tip City. And that will be approved at the 2024 January, our first meeting. And then also, I'd like to mention that there's bricks that are in front of the high school, and those can be purchased from the T organization to commemorate things or that kind of stuff. So I think that's a lovely gift opportunity for graduation, Christmas, things like that. So that was all from the T meeting. Okay. All right, now we're moving to citizens.
I actually had a committee.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm so
it
sorry.
wasn't on my list.
I'm
So,
sorry.
the Parks Board met on, oh gosh, I can't remember. We had to change it a couple different times because we had to squeeze it in, kind of do an emergency meeting because we had a donation and there's going to be a dog splash pond. I don't know if I'm saying that right. At the pool, at the city pool.
Oh,
So there'll be more
nice.
information on that, but it was a donation. It got approved and I'm sure they'll be talking about it in January. And I sent Mr. Moran and Mr. Stevens and Ms. Williams the date for that meeting so the new board member will be ready to go. And I'll share those notes once they get the official notes out to us. I'll forward those on. So that was exciting.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
All the dogs will be happy.
Yes. I know. I love that they have that thing at the end of the year.
Yeah, where
where
you
all
can
the dogs
swim.
can come.
It's,
Yeah.
it's an awesome time.
Yeah.
Isn't that down at the Bark Park? Down at Kyle?
No, they actually.
It's going to be by the pool,
Yeah.
the city pool.
All right. Next will be citizens' comments. Mr. Don Watson, your subject is truth, prayer, script, and Native American. Mr. Watson.
Oh, boy. Are we ready to? Oh, no bad words.
You have a timer. Okay.
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 May I remind you, today is the day the Lord has made. I have always spoke truth, no matter what the subject. We must refresh our memories back to the basics, like any coach or band director does if a team loses. They go back to the basics. Ask the right questions. One question is, why is the band down to basically 20 high school students when 4 years ago we had 120 in the high school band? It has to be a question asked. I like athletics, but I like the band just as much. So what's the problem? So far, all the community we have has to take a look at the commandments of God. Shall we pray? Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Again, the basics we must go back to was when God gave Moses the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not have unto thee any graven image. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. Honor thy father and mother. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness. They shall not covet the neighbor's house, wife, manservant, maidservant, anything that is the neighbor's. He that soweth iniquity shall reap vanity, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against there is no law. As I spoke last month, the Native American are Indians, which is a race that should not be blasphemed against the unpardonable sin. I'm sorry this went over your head, but I am anti-racism, not racist. And the word devil is. It's a blasphemy because everything God created is sacred and there is no forgiveness against blasphemy. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Stevens, monthly financial report.
That's the board document with the monthly financial report for the month of November. Just to let you know that the cash balance is down considerably compared to last month, which you don't have that number in front of you, but I'm just letting you know. Activity of the general fund was business as usual. It was other accounts that saw some serious activity. If you were looking at the cash balance report, which is the last page, you'll see large disbursements in the 002 fund, the 003 fund, and the 016 fund. Those three funds alone, and there was less money spent out of our self-insurance fund this month, which is good because I really want that one to be done.
Yeah.
But if you took all four of those funds, that activity together, it almost makes up the exact amount of the difference of last month's expenditures versus this month's. In 002, we paid off roughly $2 million of debt this past month. The largest being the debt on the high school, which is the second to last principal payment we have to make. The last payment will be in December next year, and then the high school will be completely paid off. We paid other small amounts of debt for land purchase next to the high school, the bleachers, the renovations for the middle school LT and the high school that occurred back in 2018. And then House Bill 264 energy project where we replaced lighting and the savings that we received from those replacements we've been using to pay that debt down. The other amount, we did pay a large balance for Broadway roof repairs. And that was $207,000. That was PO that was opening last year. That it was just now paid down. So that expense carried over into this fiscal year. And then we did see a reduction again, as I said, in our self-insurance fund, which is great. I think it was 180-something thousand last month versus 22,000 this month, or in November. I'm sorry, from October to November. We continue to receive a good interest rate on our investments, over 5%, which is bringing in a good amount. That would be on page 2 of the report for the investment amounts. Are there any questions that I can answer for board members? Okay.
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you say, Mr. Stevens, about paying off the bleachers? And did you say 2018?
Not the bleachers, no. We did a renovation project at the middle school, LT Ball, and high school in 2018. That's part of the debt that we're paying down. I was just listing that we have bleacher debt,
Yes.
renovation debt, the land that was purchased next to high school. I think that was 2016. I actually wrote these things down.
Now, the bleachers debt, are you referring to that when they were recently, like within,
Purchased.
yeah.
We purchased.
And we
bleachers.
took a loan out for like 500,000 on
Yes.
that.
The bleacher debt is outstanding until 2032. We pay 50,000 a year.
It's a long time.
Okay.
But our biggest expense is definitely the high school debt. Next year's payment will be $1.6 million in December. This month's payment was $1.7 million.
And then is that done?
That's done
Next
year.
December, 2024.
This is recorded, everything.
No,
Okay,
thanks.
anyone else? Okay. Right, and I believe you have the next one too, Mr. Stevens.
The next item is my fiscal year 24 appropriation amendments that have been made since our last meeting. If I could get a motion for approval of the 24 appropriation amendments.
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunaway, and a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mrs. Drum.
Right, and we'll, any discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote.
Mrs. Dunaway.
Yes.
Mrs. Drum.
Yes.
This is Heatherly.
Yes.
Mr. Mays.
Yes,
Mrs. Accord.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Okay, next is going to be recommend approval to advance up to $1 million for the general fund 01 to the health fund 24 to cover negative fund balance.
So moved.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Dunaway, seconded by Mrs. Heatherly. Is there any discussion?
I will just add that I've been talking about this move for the past few months,
Mhm.
and it's just time to do it now. So
Yep.
I just need to make it legal and have the board approve that advance before I can move it. It was included in our budget that we approved earlier this year and in our appropriations.
All right, hearing no discussion, we'll go ahead and vote.
Mrs. Dunaway.
Yes.
Heatherly.
Yes.
Drum.
Yes.
Maine.
yes,
Zakor.
Yes.
Okay, next, we need okay, approval to reimburse board members for expenses incurred while attending the 20,
Say 2024.
I was like, wait a minute, 2024 Ohio School Board Association Capital Conference as per board policy 0147.
I apologize.
Wouldn't it be 23?
23.
Yeah, it'll be this year's.
24 school year.
Okay,
So moved
okay, so
with correction.
with correction, so the motion should now read approval to reimburse board members for expenses incurred while attending the 2023 Ohio School Board Association Capital Conference as per board policy 0147. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Moved by Mrs. Dunaway, second by Mrs. Zakor. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote.
Mrs. Dunaway.
Yes.
Mrs. Zakor.
Yes.
Mrs. Drum.
Yes.
Mr. Maines.
yes,
Mrs. Heatherly.
No.
Motion passes. All right, next is alternative tax document format, approval of a resolution declaring intention to proceed under the alternative tax document format provided under section 5705.281 of the Ohio Revised Code with public content enclosed. Mr. Stevens, did you have anything you wanted to say on this before?
Can we do it first? and a
You gotta get a
second?
motion in a second.
Okay, my
Mo-
bad. Sorry.
So
I was
moved.
just didn't know if you had a, okay. Dunaway
I'll second.
and Mrs. Heatherly.
I will just add, this is the format that the Miami County Auditor's Office asks us to complete. This is an annual process that we do. We pass this motion first in December, and then I prepare a draft budget for the next school year that gets reviewed and approved at our organizational meeting. It is to be turned into the county auditor's office, I believe, by the 15th of January. It's basically a rough draft of the next school year budget. It's more than 6 months in advance. Each county can do it differently. Montgomery County doesn't require, if I recall, have not required this at all. They don't even turn in a budget to the county auditor in Montgomery County. Greene County has you do a more formal budget, and then you go and speak with the county budget commission.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Mrs. Zakor?
So, Mr. Stevens, what is is there an alternative process other than the alternative tax document format?
It's either doing a full blown budget, which I've never had to complete. I don't know what that entails. Except knowing that you have to meet in front of the board commission or the budget commission at the county level to have them approve it. The budget commission still reviews ours. We just don't have to meet in person with them. I think there's less forms that we have to fill out. We actually fill out an Excel spreadsheet that the county auditor's office has developed, and it includes all of our funds, just like we do with our appropriations now.
You mean as part of the alternative?
Yes, that's part of the alternative.
Okay.
Or we don't have, or they could not require us to do it at all. So they ask for Miami County asked for an alternative form.
Based on your knowledge, is that typically what most school districts in this area do?
Everyone in Miami County.
Uses
Every
the
county's-
alternative tax document.
Every county is different.
Every
Yeah,
county,
every county is different.
Okay.
this is what the county auditor for Miami County has
Once.
asked us to do.
And if we get a new Miami County auditor, it could change.
Correct.
It's his personal choice.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote.
Dunaway.
Yes.
Heatherly.
Yes.
Drum.
Yes.
Maines.
Yes.
The board.
Yes.
Next is a motion for approval of the 5-year depository agreement with the following bank institutions: Park National Bank, 212 North Main Street, Piqua, Ohio, 45356.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Dunaway,
I'll second.
second by Mrs. Heatherly. Any discussion?
Did you give me one moment?
Yes,
I see an issue where this is listed as one of the consent items, and if I save this, it will save it for all consent items, and I don't want that. I'm going to exit this meeting,
Okay.
change that, and make it so that it is not consent.
okay.
Give me one moment.
Oh, so you're saying it's in 2 spots?
Well, I'm saying that if I say yes on this, because it's noted as a consent item, it will save all of them that way.
Okay.
That is not what we want. So,
Okay,
one moment.
no problem.
Oh, see where it says action in parentheses, it says consent.
Yeah, I saw that after he
I
mentioned
couldn't
it.
figure out
but
what he was
didn't-
talking about because I didn't see it double.
Yeah, I didn't notice it at first.
That was done away in Heatherly.
Yeah.
Go back. That has now been fixed. I'll just provide some information. We are required by ORC to have depository agreements on file with our bank. We currently have 2. One is with Park National Bank. The other is with Chase Bank. We had Chase previously as a depository, and we have moved away from them in the past few years. We used to be with Park National Bank, and the former treasurer for even my term, the first time, moved us out of Chase, or moved us out of Park, and back then it was Unity National Bank, and we moved back to them. I think we have a good relationship with them in the community, and both of these agreements, I believe that the Park Bank actually expired today, which is why we're doing this now, and Chase expires December 31st. However, Chase is not on this for approval because of my next item that you'll see. And we can talk about that when we get to it. But this is definitely something that we want to make sure we take care of because it's done once every 5 years. Sometimes it can be missed. So we just want to make sure we got it on there.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Any other questions, comments, discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote.
Dunaway,
Yes.
Heatherly,
Yes.
Drum,
Yes.
Maines.
Yes.
Zakor.
Yes.
Next is closing Chase Bank checking account. Approval to authorize the treasurer to close the Tippecanoe High School and Tippecanoe Middle School athletic checking accounts at Chase Bank due to inactivity.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Dunaway,
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Heatherly. Any well, Mr. Stevens, do you want to go ahead and just explain?
In the past, years ago, both the high school and the middle school athletics had their own checking account to pay, it was like a petty cash account that had been authorized for their use to pay officials. Since that time, we have moved. We've actually now gone to a newer online official payment system. The first one used to be, I've completely forgotten what the name of it was. Arbiter Pay, yes, thank you, Mr. Moran. We had Arbiter Pay. The state had asked people to go to that company. The fees have gotten too expensive, however, so OHSAA moved away to another company called Dragonfly, and they make all of the payments to the officials for the games. It's all electronic. They issue the 1099s at the end of the year rather than the school districts issuing those.
That's awesome.
It
That's
definitely
great.
made it a lot easier for us. And thereby it made the need for the checking accounts obsolete. The last activity in either one of those accounts was in 2021. And those were just clearing of an old check.
Mhm.
You know, I don't think they've really had any activity since 2019.
Perfect. Good.
So there's 13,000 in the high school account and there's 3,660 in the middle school account. That money will it's already included in our monthly bank reconciliations. We'll just put it back into Park National Bank and it's just a bank transfer, and we'll go ahead and close those accounts, and we won't have to worry about those statements being reconciled on a monthly basis. Obviously, there's no activity. So we'll just, I'm asking for the board's approval to close those accounts.
Makes a lot of sense.
Are you wanting then to close all of,
There are no other accounts to Chase.
right, so then there's no need to then sever that relationship with Chase because this action will do that?
We actually will still have an online, or we will have a credit card through Chase. So our district credit cards run through Chase. When I checked with them, there's no requirement to have, as a public institution, there's no requirement to have a deposit account on file with them to use the credit card.
Awesome.
I pay the credit card monthly from Chase Bank. I'm sorry, wrong bank, through Park Bank to Chase. So,
You do your bill pay through Park.
yes,
Yeah.
I pay that bill through Park.
Awesome.
Any other discussion? Thank you for looking into all that, Mr. Stevens. All right, we'll go ahead and take a vote.
Dunaway,
Yes.
Heatherly,
Yes.
Drum,
Yes.
Bain,
Yes,
Zakor.
Yes.
All right. Next is our consent agenda. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Can I move to, sorry, but I'd like to pull an item and I missed it at the beginning of the meeting.
Well, before we do that, there's actually a public records request, just an update. There are no outstanding
Oh.
public records.
Okay, yeah,
Let's go.
Okay.
that's good.
Okay, sorry, I missed that one. I was just going on to the next. Okay. So no public records request.
Yeah, well, there was nothing there. So
I know.
That's why I went.
I just wanted to put, so I don't forget. Okay. All right, I'm sorry, Mrs. Zukor, what?
Yeah, so I
I'm
would
sorry.
like to pull out the consent agenda J, district insurance renewal for 24.
Okay,
I'd like a discussion on that.
So we've already voted on that. Do
We've
we have
already-
to unvote that?
Okay, so I move to amend the
What do you mean we've
agenda.
already voted? We haven't voted?
We
well,
voted
we
on
need
the,
to approve the agenda.
Oh, yeah, but we can always pull things out of the consent before we get to the consent.
Yeah,
That's
so
what we,
I move
gonna
to
do.
amend that,
Okay, so then you want to move it down to new business?
please.
Okay,
And that would become
Aye.
item.
item I. Mhm.
yeah.
HI, yeah.
And that does not need a vote.
Correct.
So if you give me one moment, I will make that move.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
That has been moved. If you hit F5 on your screens, it will reload and that will be removed from the consent agenda. So I need to do one more thing. Rather than myself. Amber, if you could hit F5 one more time.
Mhm.
I just moved, the resolution was listed again in budget source, not under the resolution.
Oh, technology.
It is there.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. All right. Now we'll move to consent agenda.
I move.
Okay,
Second,
all right. Moved by Mrs. Zakor, seconded by Mrs. Dunaway.
Zakor,
Yes.
Dunaway,
yes.
Trump,
Yes,
James.
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
consent agenda passes. All right, we're moving on to new business.
Hey.
Motion for approval to
Can I ask
accept.
a question?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Do we skip old business?
I
never
don't
heard
have
you-
anything under old business.
Oh, okay. I was gonna add something, but I'm sorry. I didn't realize. Okay,
Motion
never
for
mind.
Take a motion for it.
Oh, okay. I motion to make a comment under old business. How about that?
Second.
Okay, so
Discussion.
discussion. All right, well, I just have a discussion piece. Can we move it after
Oh, I
the
don't,
new business so we can just keep going with
No
what we're
problem.
doing right now?
sorry, I
Okay.
never heard you say old business because there was a whole distraction with the consent agenda. So I
Yeah,
missed it.
sorry, yeah. Okay, as long as we're good with that.
I don't care. That's
Okay.
fine.
All right, so we'll vote on moving Mrs. Dunaway's old business down to right before citizens' comments. And then we'll. Did you want to go ahead and let us,
Comments?
yeah, before citizens' comments, did you want to go ahead and let us know what it is to put in there or?
Oh, I just had one comment on Latin
Okay.
honors because I wasn't here at the last meeting.
Okay, okay,
I thought that was on
No,
there under new business. Okay.
nope.
Sorry.
okay, and then we'll go ahead and go on moving that down there.
Mhm.
Don't we need to make a motion to amend the agenda to add that in?
She did,
I made the motion and gave a second.
Okay.
it was motioned by Mrs. Dunaway, seconded by Mrs. Zakor. And then my discussion was moving it down. So I guess we need to
Let me.
add the amendment.
Add that in.
Motion to move added discussion for old business and move old business to after new business. Before. I had Mrs. Dunaway and Mrs. Zakor as a first and a second.
Yes.
Need to rethink this.
Okay. Mhm.
And put this at the beginning of new business.
Okay,
All right, there we go. Motion to add a discussion item for old business, and new old business after new business before public comment.
Okay.
Mrs. Dunaway,
Yes.
Mrs. Zakor.
Yes.
Mrs. Drum,
Yes.
Mrs. Heatherly,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Just a second. Are we all good, Mr. Stevens? Okay. Okay, I just didn't want to mess something up on your end. Okay. Next, oh wait, so is that what we're,
Well, you want to go to new business?
Yes.
Keep moving, so we're on the. I moved that into an item A under new business.
okay. But we're still using that later. Or we've had, I'm so confused.
Well, right, if you hit refresh, you hit item 8B, you should be on keepsake self-storage.
Okay, cool, okay. That's where I'm going. Okay. Keep Safe Self-Storage donation. A motion for approval to accept a donation from Keep Safe Self-Storage in the amount of $1,355 donated to the athletic department.
I move.
Moved by Mrs. Zakor,
I'll second.
seconded by Mrs. Heatherly. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Zakor?
No.
No. Mrs. Heatherly?
Other than thank you.
What's the donation for?
I'm not aware of what the donation is.
Aaron, do you know what it's for?
No, it's just,
Athletic department?
yeah.
Was it for a specific purpose? Just curious. If you don't know, that's fine.
I don't think he heard you, John.
No, he's looking. He's trying to,
He's
he's
looking.
trying to research.
Okay, thank you.
This is nice though. Thanks. for
Yes,
the
thank you.
donation.
All right, we'll go ahead and, there's another discussion. We'll go ahead and vote.
Zakor,
Yes.
Heatherly,
Yes,
Drum,
Yes.
Maines,
Yes.
Dunaway.
Yes.
Okay. Next, athletic boosters donation. A motion for approval to accept the following donations from the athletic boosters in the amount totaling $24,346.65. Please see the public content below. I'll just say for fall, it's a fall total of $10,109.03. And for winter, it's $12,440.37.
I'll move.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Maine, seconded by Mrs. Dunaway. Any discussion?
I would like to, oh, sorry, Rick, you went first. You
Oh,
motioned.
just thank you for doing that from the athletic boosters. That's a great donation.
Mrs. Dunaway?
Yeah. Hey, Joellen, I just Googled that real quick, and Keep Safe Self-Storage is a self-storage facility in Tipp City, Ohio. So it looks like somebody maybe donated like maybe a year's worth or a unit or something to the athletic department, probably for equipment, I'm guessing.
right. The only reason I ask is it's such a specific amount. I just thought,
Yeah, I'm
That's
guessing
fine.
it's for like a single unit or something. Anyway, that's it.
Any other discussion on the athletic boosters donation?
Thank you for the generous amount.
Yes, thank you. All right, let's go ahead and vote.
Mr. Maines?
Yes.
Mrs. Dunaway?
Yes.
Mrs. Drum,
Yes,
Mrs. Heatherly,
yes,
Mrs. Zakor.
Yes.
okay, motion passes. All right, next is Young Black and Lit donation. Motion for the approval to accept the following donation from Young Black and Lit to the LT Ball Intermediate School. Public content is located below. It's a donation of 2 boxes of books for the LT Ball Library.
I'll move.
Moved by Mr. Maines. I'll go ahead and second that. Any discussion, Mr. Maines?
No, just thank you very much.
I echo the same. All right, any other?
What are the books?
I just Googled that. Yeah, I don't know.
Do we know what the
Just
books
2
are?
boxes.
I'm assuming it's, yeah,
I mean, in 2 boxes, what does that mean? Like how many books are in a box?
I can find out. I can find out.
I just put up the organization as we were speaking, just trying to figure out what it was.
Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead.
Oh, can I also, who is Young, Black and Lit? What is that group?
Organization, nonprofit organization. This is from our media, I believe from our media center. Person of our librarian.
Yeah, I just, at this point, I'm not comfortable approving something. I don't really have enough. I don't know what that is. I don't know how many books and what the content is and I'm not familiar with that organization. And so that's my comment.
Any other discussion? All right, Mr. Stevens?
Raines,
Yes.
Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Mrs. Dunaway,
No.
Mrs. Heatherly,
Yes.
Mrs. Zakor.
Abstain.
Motion passes. Next, I'll entertain a motion for approval to accept the donation from the PB Wrestling Program to the Middle School Wrestling Program, a total amount of $650.53. Tippecanoe Pee Wee Wrestling Program, Tippecanoe Middle School Wrestling Program, $650.53. Donations include a 75-inch TV, a wall mount, and extension cord for enhanced learning activities on the mat and be able to show different techniques.
I'll move.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Heatherly, seconded by Mrs. Mrs. Dunaway. Mrs. Heatherly, do you have any discussion?
No, thank you.
Mrs. Dunaway, do you have any discussion?
No, just as always, thank you for the wonderful donations that we receive.
Any other discussion?
Thank you.
Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
Heatherly,
Yes.
Dunaway,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Raines.
Yes.
Zakor.
Yes.
Next is the school safety guard contract. Motion for approval to authorize the superintendent to enter into a contract for the amount to not exceed $500,000 for the purpose of upgrading school district security cameras, including parts, installation, labor, and training. Purchases to be fully funded by the Ohio K-12 School Safety Grant.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Maines, seconded by Mrs. Heatherly. Any discussion, Mr. Maines?
No, we discussed it at the work study session and they had the list of equipment and so forth and it looked really good. And I think for safety and security of our students, it's a good thing. And since we're getting grant money to fund it, you can't beat it.
Mrs. Heatherly?
No, I think it's a good idea.
Okay, any other discussion?
If I'm understanding correctly, it is portable, the equipment, so
Yes.
we can move it to our new facilities down the road and it's. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, sounds like a great. Oh, and thank you. Was it Dr. Tuttlehuff that applied for that? Yeah, it is. Okay, great. Shout out to her for bringing that in.
Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
Raines,
Yes.
Heatherly,
Yes.
Drum,
Yes.
Dunaway.
Yes.
Zakor.
Yes.
Okay, next is a motion for approval to set the meeting date and time for the records in an organizational meeting for January 3rd, 2024 at 5 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Maines, seconded by Mrs. Zakor. Okay, Mr. Maines, do you have any discussion?
No.
Mrs. Zakor, do you have any discussion? Anyone else? I do. I have a question. I thought it was 4:45.
5 o'clock, and then the organization would be at 5.
Okay, so okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because on my notes it said something different, so I just want to make sure. Okay, fantastic. Okay, we'll go ahead and vote.
Raines,
Yes.
Zakor,
Yes.
Drum,
Yes.
Dunaway,
Yes.
Heatherly.
Yes.
Okay. Next, it's a motion to appoint a president pro tempo to preside over the Records Commission and organizational meeting on January 3rd, 2024 at 5 p.m. Just note with this motion, you'll probably need to put a person in
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Maines. Mrs. Heatherly. Okay, is there any discussion?
So in this motion, we need to appoint.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to appoint you to the meeting.
I'll second that.
Oh, fantastic. All right. Is there any discussion?
No.
Okay, then we're voting on me being president pro tempo.
So that is the motion now.
Yeah.
To nominate.
Motion to appoint Mrs. Drum.
Yes,
Exactly.
that's the amended motion that
Okay.
Mrs. Heatherly just made and Mr. Maines seconded. Or did I do that wrong? I did that wrong. Mr. Maines made it and Mrs. Heatherly seconded.
That's okay.
So Dave just needs to update the language.
I have added, motion to appoint President Pro Tempore, Mrs. Drum, to preside over the Records Commission organizational meeting on January 3rd, 2024 at 5 p.m. Ready for the vote?
Yes, that's what we're voting on.
Yes.
Heatherly,
Yes.
Drum,
Yes.
Dunaway,
Yes.
Zakor.
Yes.
Easy step.
All right. Board member recognition and discussion. For public content, Mrs. Dunaway and Mrs. Zakor will be recognized for the years of service to the students and staff of the Tipp City Schools and the community. Mr.
This is an opportunity that's done in the past, if you have anything you'd like to say in your last official board meeting, I don't think we're gonna squeeze anything in from now on January 1st, but you but if there's anything you'd like to say, we're welcome. Have a couple minutes to share some thoughts.
Also, if Mrs. Heatherly would like to say something, just because, you know, she served for 4 years, she came back. So she might have some comments as well.
I'll defer to you all to go right ahead.
Go ahead, Ann.
No, you go first.
I've been here the longest, so I'm going last. 8 years. I deserve to do whatever the heck I want for the next 5 minutes. I might just do a cartwheel and scream my head off. So you go first. I'll go last.
So I would just like to say, it's been an honor and it's been my privilege and pleasure to serve the board for these past 4 years. I support the I'm appreciative of the support I've received over these 4 years. It's been a challenging 4 years for many reasons. It's a great experience. I think that I feel that I've honored my commitments that I ran on. I don't play games. I don't like that. I said I wanted to have transparency, best practices. I said I wanted to have decisions based more on policies and less on family and friends club type connections. I believe I've done that every step of the way. I want to thank the people that I've met, starting with the Board of Education office. Wow, you guys are just a great group of people. You see your board members come and go every 2-4 years. You're just so welcoming, and that ebb and flow, you are so professional. I don't want to start naming names because I don't want to skip anybody inadvertently, but we all feel it. I know that. The Board of Education staff is just gracious, knowledgeable, welcoming, professional, and there to help. And I always feel like they're serving me in many regards, and it's just a great thing. I also want to thank all the staff in all the other buildings. Again, I don't want to go into names because it's just, you just can't do it all. And from building administrators to teachers to secretaries to all the ancillary services, the library, the cafeteria, the bus drivers, just very dedicated people that are behind the scenes and don't always get that forefront recognition. And I just think, listen, there's no perfect system. That's the way life is. And so I don't expect perfection, but the dedication of people that are there is really, it's awesome. And I just want to say, I've learned a lot of things that I did not know about, Robert's rules, starting with that. And so I'm very grateful And I wish everybody well for the 2024 school year. And thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Zakor. Mrs. Dunaway?
Well, obviously, I echo everything Mrs. Zakor said. It has been a privilege to serve over the last 8 years. Being the school board president, the 2 COVID years was quite an experience. And being a new board president during 2 years of COVID with not just a new superintendent, but a new superintendent from another state. Definitely, I think God had his hand on my shoulder because I look back on it and I don't know how I survived it, but I did. And thanks to all the people along the way who helped out from the board office, from the buildings. We have a lot of wonderful people who work here, and I'm just very appreciative. And I've always been the kind of person that lets my actions speak for me. We have a family saying, let your bat do your talking. So there's no reason to discuss anything further. What I've done over the last 8 years pretty much speaks for itself. So it was a privilege, and good luck to everybody else, and have a great 30 years, I guess, or 40 or 50. I don't know how long. Just good luck and keep working hard. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies.
Your turn.
Yeah, I don't need to say anything.
Token of appreciation.
Oh, it's not a bomb, is it?
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's sweet.
Look how nice that handwriting
Yes,
is.
that's beautiful.
That hat, this looks like a Kristen with the cute. She
Yes.
is so good at this.
Thank you.
She needs to
Thank
open
you
an
very
Etsy
much.
shop.
Very
You're
appreciative.
gonna lose her. If she opens an Etsy shop, you might lose her, Mr. Moran.
All right. Next is district insurance renewal for 2024. Motion for the approval of the property of property and fleet insurance renewal from Hamler Gingrich Business and Personal Insurance Company for December 2023 to December 2024.
I'll move.
Second,
Okay. Moved by Mrs. Heatherly and seconded by Mrs. Dunaway. Mr. Moran, I have a note in here that you were gonna kind of
Yeah.
explain it. Do you want? Yes, no?
Did you have some specific questions before
Mhm.
you would have? You would
Sure.
ask those there.
Well, I'm familiar with Hamler Gingrich, and I've spoken with Mr. Kurt Hamler. Great guy, great experience. That's not my interest or concern. I'm a little fuzzy because I looked through, this is a lengthy document, and I'm just,
it's only 31 pages.
yeah, I need clarity. Is this the agent I get is Hamler Gingrich? That's fine. I mean, that's clear. But is this Keys? I get who's the insurer?
Liberty Mutual.
But I didn't see them mentioned in here.
Page 7.
Is it 7?
Remember we talked about that on
Okay.
page 7.
So we're
They shop
Hamlet
it out.
Gingrich is our insurance broker.
Yes.
And they approach different insurance companies on our behalf.
They're
And
brokers. They go out and broker.
and they
Okay.
get the rates for us based on our activity in the past year. And Liberty Mutual was the only group that Hamlet Gingrich works with that would quote us based on the past year that we have had with our claims and such.
Mhm.
And so if on page 7, it does describe, our property insurance, general liability, the school bus and auto, and any crime insurance, violent event coverage, school leaders, errors and omissions liability policy, sexual misconduct liability policy, and school umbrella liability policy. All of those are through Liberty Mutual. We are also getting a cyber risk policy through Travelers Insurance.
Okay.
And so the package that they have brought to us will be with mostly Liberty and that small.
And then that small one on
Cyber
cyber risk.
When we have issues, if something breaks, we contact Hamler and they're on the phone on our behalf with the insurance company. working
That's
on the
nice.
claims.
Because that's a 3-hour phone call just
Yes.
to get a person.
Yes, it is. I've worked with other groups. At Milton, we used another group and we actually worked with Phelan, another company.
Honor for sales. Oh my gosh, small world.
We had Phelan give us a quote. They brought, and they were able to bring us a quote, but Mrs. Hagan and I reviewed that quote. And with the year that we've had, with the insurances, with the claims that we currently have outstanding, we felt, and we spoke with Mr. Moran, we felt it was not time to change.
Change.
But
Good.
we will be speaking in the future with Phelan as well, because they have other groups. Phelan could also work with Liberty Mutual, but I feel that it was right to and a separate relationship with Hamler Gingrich. Just to pick up Phelan, who we don't have a relationship with yet at this time. But if Phelan is able to quote from a different company, the more the merrier to see what we can get. Hopefully this next year we'll see better activity in our claims, meaning not having many at all. And we can get a better rate out there in the insurance world.
Okay, thank you for that. So moving forward for 2024, all of these categories of coverage lines are for Liberty Mutual with the exception of the cyber risk.
Correct.
And then is there a separate policy you have to purchase since assuming and I know this won't be in 2024, but assuming the bond passes for the new facility, and you
We would
purchase?
probably have to get a writer, or you would ask for an increase in the liability coverage. So they basically are covering us for a certain dollar amount for the property that we own. I believe that was listed on page 10. It had a limit of $143 million. That was the blanket building and contents limit. And so that is the dollar amount that we are insured for damages. So if we had something happen to one of our buildings and it cost $10 million, we'd be covered. If 3 of our buildings were hit and it was $100 million, we'd be covered. And so, and I completely lost the question that you asked me.
No, you answered it. Fine. It's clear that that's fine. It's the bulk of this is Liberty Mutual, with the exception of that cyber risk. And then is there a premium quote in here?
I believe if you scroll all the way down to, it is on page 25.
Okay.
On page 25, it lists the dollar amounts for the property, the general liability, they're all in there individually
Yes.
to me.
Okay.
And the total is $167,900.
Okay. And then my final comment would be a shout out to Mrs. Hagan, because I think she lives and breathes this stuff.
Yes, she does.
And it's not light reading. I went through this for other reads and it's not light reading. So thank you very much, Mrs. Hagan, for always keeping an eye on that.
Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on accepting the insurance renewal for 2024.
Beverly,
Yes.
Dunaway.
Yes.
Drum.
Yes.
Names.
Yes.
Decor.
Yes.
Okay, next is old business. Mrs. Dunaway.
Yeah, I just wanted to, at the Latin honors meeting, I was on college visit, so I wasn't here. But the whole reason that got brought up and why I tried to get that in front of the board for discussion for, like the last 3 months, it was never about valedictorian versus valedictorian and salutatorian versus Latin honors. That was never my issue. That is for the next board to decide. It has nothing to do with this. My concern was we had 5 students that weren't properly recognized for Latin honors due to the 8th grade or the 8th quarter grades being taken into account. So my biggest and burning question is, shouldn't we go back for the last 4 years or 5 years, the whole time we've had Latin honors? Because what if other kids were missed out along the way? And here's why. Some people say, hey, I don't know why she's making such a big deal about that. She's beating a dead horse. I think that's absolutely incorrect. It does matter. It is a big deal because a lot of these kids that were here the first year we had Latin honors are now graduating college. They might be trying to get into med school, vet school, get their MBA. You can't get into dental school, med school, or vet school, right? It's very, very difficult. So they're applying with all of the other kids across the United States. And if one of our kids had been left out, and now we can go back and say, hey, you're summa cum laude or magna cum laude or cum laude. What if that makes a difference? And they're competing against all of these other kids from all these other states trying to get into Ohio State med school or vet school or whatever. I think we're doing a disservice if we don't go back and correct all of the Latin honors for the last 4 or 5 years since we've had it. I think that's a huge disservice to our students who worked hard to earn those honors. I think it's negligent. It's very negligent in my opinion. So I would make a motion that the district go back and correct Latin honors for the entire duration of the Latin honors program for any student. And we recognize on their official transcripts, because those go to their post-secondary college opportunities for summa cum laude, magna cum laude, and cum laude. I mean, what a great thing to say, hey, we made a mistake and we don't want to hold you back from achieving your next academic accomplishment past college. For us to think that this is a futile, that's just wrong. It's not. It's a big deal.
Okay. Hold on. Yep. Okay. Mr. Moran, I wanted to ask a question. Because I don't know extent of where this went. So she did bring up the point. Did it just stay with this particular class or do we, okay.
Practice.
We've been doing it wrong since the inception of Latin honors.
Did we check other years or did we just?
We know it happened.
Okay.
We tried to correct it. Make amends for it this past year.
Okay.
But moving forward, but you know what? I'll have to double check on trend. I'm not sure if Latin honors are on transcripts.
Okay.
It says on there your GPA and
Yes, but the GPA is corrected. Everybody's GPA gets corrected afterwards, which is how we found it, but I don't know if it's that. My understanding from previous was that Latin honors is not listed on there.
right. It might not say, for instance, it might not say 4.5 summa cum laude, but by the time you get to college your freshman year, your GPA went from a 3.449 to a 4.50, or you know what I'm saying, to 4.501. However, it does make a difference though, because those kids don't know that. So let's just say you just graduated this year from Ohio State. You're trying to get into Ohio State veterinary school. When you're filling out your physical application, you can now say, I'm summa cum laude, or I was magna cum laude. But once you're past that freshman year, you're not going to be a senior graduating from Ohio State and go, oh, hey, I'm not keeping up with social media or what's going on. I've already moved on. I live in Columbus. I have a life. I'm working in a veterinarian's office. You're not going to think to go back and do that. So we need to send those parents a letter, those students a letter for any affected child, because you handwrite that on your application. Tell us why you want to get into vet school. Well, I was summa cum laude, so it's a speaking point in your application.
Okay.
For how many years back?
I think we've had it for 4 or 5 years. Steve Ehrhoff was the high school president when we switched from valedictorian, salutatorian.
President or principal?
He was the principal, sorry. He was the high school principal. Mrs. Dahl was on the board then. So it would be at least, how long has Mrs. Dahl been gone? 5, 6 years? No, she's been gone 2. It's been like 4 or 5 years. I can't remember exactly.
I think we adopted it in 19.
Yeah, has it been like 4
I think it was 2000.
or 5 years?
How many students have come forth questioning it?
I was the one that brought it forth. No students, just me. No students, just me.
How many parents besides Mrs. Dunaway?
Nobody. Well, I brought it to their attention, but
So maybe we could look into it.
it doesn't matter, Joellen, if somebody didn't bring it, how about just
No.
being proactive and doing the right thing? It's not
questioning
about,
it, Teresa, I'm just asking the question. I'm not discrediting your concern. I'm just asking the question. Okay.
So maybe you could look into it for us and let us know, and then we
Yeah.
can make adjustments.
We were discussing this as early as 2018. He had old business on it in June of 2019.
okay, so 4 years.
Yeah, I'm not sure when.
So it wouldn't take that long to go back and recalculate. Cause you're only looking at the 4.4 to the 4.5, the 3.9 to the 4.0. And yeah, so it's a small group for all 4 years.
Mm.
Can I Sure. Just to be clear.
Because we're in discussion.
Okay, so going back that X number of years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever it is. And it was the Latin honors was calculated on 7 semesters rather than 8.
Correct.
But is it also correct that the actual transcript will reflect 8 semesters?
Mhm.
So
No, that's not true.
let me ask the question.
Oh, sorry.
So the accumulative GPA is going to be correctly reflected on a transcript?
Mm-mm.
If you got a transcript, when you get your transcript after graduation.
Yes.
It should be updated, maybe a month or whatever that is.
The official transcript should be reflecting 8 semesters.
All high school courses, you could have taken in 6th, 7th grade or, 8th grade classes, whatever that is, but yes, it should.
Or you're full-time at yes, whether you graduated at 7.
Based on
Hmm.
your your senior year, your last year.
So if that's
That's my
correct,
understanding.
because I don't know how it would not be the actual GPA recording on the transcript, how would it not be accurate unless yeah, go ahead.
So I disagree. So if let's just say you're a student, you're a senior at Tipp right now. So you're applying for colleges now and your transcripts are sent by the end of the school year before May. So that's how your colleges accept you. We don't just resend 2,600 students' college applications again, unless there's a specific reason that a college asks for it, or there's some type of, maybe your financial aid changes or something like that. No, we don't resend those. So no, the college does not have the correct cumulative 8-quarter GPA. They have the one based on the 7, which is how the student got into the college. Unless a student
Well, they wouldn't have an 8th semester because the student hadn't
exactly.
completed it. They
Right,
were
so
still
my
in
point-
school. So
so-
how could they have an 8th semester GPA?
My point is the colleges don't have the correct, for certain students that were impacted by this, they don't have the correct GPA because there's no reason to resend it unless there's some type of discrepancy, a new college application. That's how we found out. We only found out because we saw something posted for our child and we said, wait a minute, that's what they told us is GPA. So most people don't know. You just don't know.
Well, I thought it was the GPA reflected on the transcript, the final transcript after they graduated. No more classes, business closed. I thought it was that number that triggered the disconnect between the accumulative GPA, whether it's let's say it's a 4.5, not matching and being in alignment with the Latin honors title. I thought that was the disconnect.
Students are already in college by the time they physically walk across that stage at Hobart and get their diploma. Their college, Ohio State, UC, UD, whoever, already has all of their paperwork. So we don't just resend every single college to redo their transcript. When you got accepted to college, that is the transcript that your college has, unless there was some specific reason why you would need to get it again. So most students would not know, colleges would not know that a kid was accidentally not recognized as magna cum laude, or summa cum laude. You just wouldn't know. It's the school's duty, I think, to go back and figure this out over the last 4 years, be proactive, and let these students know that, because they deserve to brag about it because they earned that academic achievement.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with the need for correction, not disagreeing with that at all. What I'm saying is that the rationale for the correction, I wasn't following, because an 8-semester transcript is an 8-semester transcript. And that's what I would think every kid would have once they leave their high school. And I guess it's a question, college admissions, do they hone in right away on the cumulative GPA, or are they honing in on a title, a Latin honors title? I don't.
GPA. Unless you're valedictorian, you could put, I'm valedictorian, but a lot of schools have moved away from that. So they see the cumulative GPA.
Okay.
Every college is different too. Some private colleges ask, You can put on there, I'm magna cum laude, summa cum laude, I'm valedictorian. Some just want your GPA. Every college, private, public, every university is different. It all depends on their application.
Was there any rationale why they did 7 semesters instead of 8 on this Latin honors?
That would
It's
be a
just
good
easier
question.
to wrap it up early instead of the thick of things in May. I mean, what's up with that?
Great point.
Yeah.
None of us know. We weren't here.
Well,
That's not best practice.
No, it's not.
well. we
And
have
it's being
a situation
corrected.
Now, it's not necessarily good or bad, it's just. So we have, the state has money now for the scholarships for the top. 5%. Being the 10, top 10 in your school district at the end of their junior year can get a renewable $5,000 scholarship. If you put those kids in there, that can't change.
Mm.
So it's all based on your junior year,
Mm.
not necessarily your senior year. But
Yeah.
that's the way it is.
Anyway, I think it would be nice for the district to proactively look into this for the last 4 years. I mean, it was 4 years. It's not like it was for 10. So it shouldn't be that,
I can see what you're like.
it shouldn't be hundreds of hours of work, you know?
I can see what you're like.
Thank you. All right, next is citizens' comments. First we have Mrs. Bone. You're commenting, thank you.
Mrs. Dunaway and Mrs. Zakor have been viciously attacked over the last couple of years and have their names, reputations, and family members dragged through the mud from a vile group of people in Tipp City. I believe it was because of some of these people's own personal vendettas and also to take everyone's attention away from Tipp Pride's failures, other negative things going on in the district that these people wanted hidden, and to take away from the good work Mrs. Dunaway and Mrs. Zakor were doing for the school, the students, and the taxpayers. This group doing all of this not only put Mrs. Dunaway and Mrs. Zakor in an unnecessary negative light, but the school district as well as Tipp City. Mrs. Dunaway and Mrs. Zakor have spent countless hours making sure they were representing all of us. I know there are a lot of people out there that are truly appreciative of the work Mrs. Dunaway and Mrs. Zakor have done while on the board. Some of these people have stayed in the background as not to have fireballs thrown at them, their families, or their businesses, because we all have an understanding of the hate-filled people in this community and the means they will go to retaliate against those they disagree with and those who speak the truth. The last 2 years has been especially hard, as it seems almost anything good Mrs. Dunaway and Mrs. Zakor tried to do was overshadowed by the previous board president and his actions and his pushing for other board members to just rubber stamp anything he said yes to. While I have not agreed with every vote Mrs. Dunaway or Mrs. Zakor have taken on the board, I will say I have been impressed by the work they have done while on the board. I would like to say it has been a pleasure watching board members who really get down in the dirt and work rather than rubber stamping everything. Mrs. Dunaway and Mrs. Zakor ran on transparency and accountability, and they have definitely stayed the course. Through all that has been thrown at them, they have stood strong and continue to work for the school district and the community. We have a more open board docs platform with more documents available for viewing by the public before they're discussed and voted on. We now have the ability to have open meetings that can be viewed in real time as they're taking place. We now have policies that have been updated, which was much needed, as I believe some of them may not even have been within the legal bounds. We have a fairer contract with the teachers union. We have an SRO contract that protects the students after the original was scratched at their insistence because it was lacking these protections among a lot of other things. Mrs. Dunaway and Mrs. Zakor have fought to have many outside contracts as well as internal contracts with the school looked over for fairness for teachers, administrators, as well as cost effective for the school, as well as for the taxpayers. Unfortunately, it looks like we're headed into a bleak future with the board we will have in 2024. I hope they do not dismantle all the good work the two of you have done. Mrs. Dunaway and Mrs. Zakor, I know you yourselves know all the hard work, countless hours, and good things you have done for the school district and community as a whole. I know your families know about all the hard work you have done while fighting down the evil forces. there's also a whole community of people that know all the good work you did. I want to say thank you for being yourselves, standing strong and standing up for the students and the community and doing the job you were voted in to do and you promised to do and you did. My family and I would like to say from the bottom of our hearts, we wish you well on your future endeavors, and all the good work you did on this board will not be forgotten. Mrs. Dunaway, thank you. Mrs. Zakor, thank you.
That was
Thank
so
you, Mrs.
sweet.
Bone.
Thank you, Mrs. Bone. Appreciate that.
All right,
Wow.
Mr. Watson, you're speaking on, I don't know what AD stands for, but scriptures, thank you, Ann and Teresa. Okay,
Sorry.
that's okay.
We used to get a printed, outline of what you were gonna cover, so, I don't know, I'm not on there for about 10 words, but I think it's good to go local. Park Bank, I received a letter, is closing in March. So I think it would be good for the board to reconsider what you just voted on. First of all, the athletic director, I was very disappointed when I went to the state soccer meeting. And it was the program you purchased with a picture of all the other teams. In our school, it's red, white, and black. And I don't think that was right because the alma mater says red and white. So why would he add black onto a school that's red and white? I don't know, but I think it needs to be looked into. And also, I've gone to the basketball games and there's no all sports program, so you can know the names of the kids. So I think that needs to be looked into. So, I'm sorry, your last 4 and 8 years have been disappointing. A group in Tipp City of people will have to come to you in person and ask forgiveness. This is not my judgment. It's what the Bible says. So when this happens, they had 52 false accusations against you. I'm sorry again. When that happens, just praise God. Okay. I think all the good things that you saved our district thousands of dollars, or we'd be further in a deficit. You helped the right to right the wrong. Doing what students did to be recognized, teachers to get a contract. Thank you for persevering. Push the future with much happiness and joy. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Okay, next is list of suggested future agenda items. Anyone have anything they'd like to add? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Next, our upcoming meeting. The next Records Commission and organizational meeting will take place on Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024 at the Board of Education beginning at 5 p.m. The 2024 board meeting schedule will be reviewed and approved at the January 3rd, 2024 meeting.
And you have something you want to say?
Oh, yeah. Did I have? Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me. It's on my notes. I just wanted, well, Mr. Randy, do you want to the 20th?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you want to discuss that?
So we have the conceptual drawings of what the high campus could look like for pass in March 19th of 2024. We're going to put that out there on the 20th so everybody can see how everything would fit on the campus and kind of stages. Like
Yeah.
really done a nice job putting the structure together. I think I think you look pretty impressive.
I'm excited.
It's not, this is not set in stone, this is just conceptual. We're working about that. Blueprints, none of that's been done
When you say put it out there, put it out where?
to the public.
On YouTube.
On, but where?
On a website, it'll be on,
Mhm.
it'll be broadcast, yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I know it's been sent out because I got a parent that actually sent it to me and said, this is so exciting. So I know that it's gotten out to the parents that it's on the 20th. So
At what time?
thank you, Liz, for, I'm assuming you sent that.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Mhm.
Yes.
At the board office.
Mhm.
yes.
But it will be on our YouTube, correct? Yes, on our YouTube page.
It won't be long. Half an hour.
Are you asking us to be there?
You're a community member, so yeah,
Well,
you're a community member.
Well, I think I'm still on the board until
She's still on the
31st.
Oh, no, January 20th, he said.
I was wondering.
December 20th.
January 20th. I was confused.
December.
Yes.
Do you want the public to come in there or is this all gonna be a virtual thing? Just,
virtual, little
That's what I
couch, we
was
don't have limited space.
Right.
Yeah, so virtual.
Okay.
So you're welcome to. attend.
Okay.
We're gonna have drinks and hors d'oeuvres or?
No,
Mexican restaurants next door. Take it outside.
yeah.
Head on over there. Head on over there.
Okay.
Not just your extra.
God, you know.
Not just their extra.
So I will be watching it on YouTube because I will not be in Ohio, but I'm very excited to see it. So. Okay.
So that's the pre-K through 8.
Yeah.
The outside, what it's gonna,
Campus,
Mhm.
how it would look like,
Good overhead view.
like an overhead view.
but it's not going to have the internal,
It has some designated areas.
just areas at this
Yeah.
point, but not a true schematic of,
Correct.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'm glad you got that.
All right. I know, I didn't want to forget it. So thank you very much for reminding me. Okay. Upcoming, okay, yeah. Now I will accept a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, Mrs. Dunaway,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Zakor. And would you call the vote, Mr. Stevens?
Mrs. Dunaway.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Drum,
Yes.
Mr. Mays.
Yes.
Mrs. Heather.
yes.
All right.